Hello everyone, this is Gorax. In this video, we will try and get highest score on the last Chief Challenge world boss Lossenia, who is by far the hardest one, especially for free-to-play players. I prepared over 10 formations for both, so hopefully you will find one that suits you well. Let's dive in. Lossenia was definitely the hardest boss to test, especially when I was looking for free-to-play formations that can do 22 million. And just so you know, you could see me doing this for 4 streams on my Twitch. If you have not followed me on the Twitch yet, please do so, as you can join me during my live streams and come up with your own ideas that I can test. Now that I have access to the test server, everything is possible. So if you want to interact with me, if you want to help me find solutions, or you want to see how my strategy works, just join me on my Twitch. If you can't be online when I'm live streaming, you can also join my Discord, where we have a lot of players, fellow DragonHeir players, as other players from different games as well. However, the Discord is not that spammy, so don't worry about it. You won't have too many notifications, mainly when I'm on or there's a new code. But you can discuss both Season 1 and Season 2, as well as I have separate channels for each of these bosses, so you can talk to people. They will show you different strategies than the ones I showed, and equipment. So yeah, if you want to reach out, just join my Discord. I'm available there as well. And you can find all the links in the video description. Before we talk about general strategy, let's look at the Psychicore that I have available here. As you know, and if you follow me on Twitch, you know that I did not invest in any of those when it comes to other teams than Ice Blast, because this was a reflection of my main account. Now, my main account has invested into a few of them here, but I wanted to keep it simple, and I left it out basically for the fire and the lightning teams. So if you have invested into those affinities beyond this point, you will do way more damage than I did, okay? So keep that in mind. What you see here, you need to add an extra damage if you invested there. If not, then you'll be looking at the similar results that I've done. The left side, before the 5-man affinity, is fully invested, which gives us accuracy, resistance for each of these teams, as well as some extra attack and HP plus attack and defense. So this is basically the affinity covered. Now let's cover what this boss is about. So Lossenia is a frost boss, which takes an extra damage from poison heroes. And poison is really good at AoE, with an exception, with few exceptions where it can excel at single target, like with Lothair. However, when we look at the boss skills, we can see that her ultimate, this is where the damage will come from. This damage will do a lot to us, and we'll basically check if our tank and our healer can survive it. And it's a diamond shape. It has diamond shape range, so it's not easy to avoid it, and at least 2 heroes will have to take it. Now, it summons an ice tornado and designated location that lasts for 6 seconds, and it deals cold damage to enemies every second with a 100% chance of applying frost. Her battle skill will mark herself, and every 1.5 seconds she will deal cold damage to surrounding enemies and have a 100% chance of applying frost. Her basic attacks will cast an ice ball that bounces between enemies, dealing cold damage, and 75% chance of inflicting frost. Ice Ball bounces up to 2 times. This skill prioritizes enemies that are not inflicted with frost. So this is why our placement will be really important. But before we go over the placement, let's look at what frost does. Frost. Some skills are enhanced when hitting targets under frost. So your first thought might be, I need to build resistance. No, not really. Why? Because this enhances skills, but this enhanced thing has to be in a skill description, and she does not have anything like that. If we look, for example, at another frost hero that utilizes frost, that will be Drist. For enemies inflicted with frost, this skill ignores their 15% of defense. So this is what we're talking about. So she doesn't have anything like that. compared to other heroes like Usha. To enemies with range with 100, the skill does double damage to enemies inflicted with frost. So this is why mostly when you use her, she's an enabler. She is not someone who benefits from targets having frost. So this is why skipping resistance is actually the best way, and I've tried both. I tried running teams with resistance and without resistance, and the resistance didn't really change the outcome of the fight. The issue is the tanks are dying because she does a lot of damage. The main thing you can run here, there's a couple strategies. You can run a tank and a healer. Both of them will take damage if you spread your damage dealers. You can run a tank and 2 healers in similar position here. Or you can run 2 tanks and a healer behind them. Okay, all 3 of those strategies work depending on what heroes you can use. And obviously, if you're using a hero like Eli, who has to be within this range to do damage with ultimate, your placement will differ. And that's the most important thing, but I'll go over the placement. I'll go over the skill timings for each specific team that I came up with. And obviously, you can reference all that in the spreadsheet that is provided in the links. Now, the first team I will provide you with today and we'll talk about is the high-end team utilizing Lothair with an exclusive artifact. Now, before I don't want to spoil how much damage this team can do, but the thing here is, on the test server, I don't have perfect runes, so I can't quite do what this team is supposed to do, meaning Corrin should have enough haste to be able to refresh this before the stacks disappear. And you will see during the fight that the stacks disappear as soon as he casts the ultimate. So I'm missing like 2 haste. And sadly, I don't have better runes with at least 1 triple roll. If I had a rune with a 1 triple roll, that's what I would get. So Corrin is really important in that team to work because we want to get to 40 stacks of poison as soon as possible to utilize our Lothair. Lothair will do a lot of damage before he dies. Okay, he will die, but that's the idea. This is why we also use Oggok here to keep him alive when we can, and we use an hourglass. Okay, so with hourglass you need like 76 haste for it to work. You can replace hourglass with incest burner, but you will need at least 78 skill haste. I've looked at the difference and it's barely visible when it comes to the ultimate, but hourglass also helps with this. So yeah, keep in mind, hourglass is like top tier artifact. Incense burner is something that can replace it, but you'll need 2 triple rolls of haste on your runes. Our tank will be Ergander, and on Ergander we'll use, as I said, this is going to be a whale team, so I'm using this huge, this legendary artifact here that has a chance of inflicting attack penalty as well when the shield breaks, but grants a shield as well. We could go with more offensive, with more defensive artifact, but we need accuracy, and there's a limited choice of accuracy artifacts available, so we had to go for this. As you can see, he has over 300 resistance plus 50 from affinity, so 350 resistance. Basically, I'll show you that it doesn't really matter, and high enough accuracy to apply attack penalty through here, so we always have some attack penalty. He has immortality, which helps him survive, and he is built with ancestral protection set to make sure he also takes 15% damage off Lothair, who will be the next one taking damage. Total defense staffs where we can, stats, and Lothair will be our main damage dealer. I built him with enlightenment set here, so he'll do more directive damage, and I mean, that might not even be the best set. You could try other sets, but the thing here is we will be utilizing these poison stacks and dealing massive damage. So if you don't have Lothair, this team will not work for you, but there are different teams, so don't worry about it. We're gonna use Twitch to apply defense down as well as basically poison through his skills. So that's why accuracy here is important. And again, we build him in similar fashion with enlightenment here to do damage, but Twitch kind of needs everything. So we're not building him with crit damage, but enlightenment, attack, accuracy. Okay, quite hard to build if he's supposed to do the defense down roll, but other than that, he's quite good. And then we have Oggok. So Oggok with Blessed Camel Bells helping us heal with Cyril set as well, because he applies Attack penalty, yes, you guessed right. Attack penalty 2 through his battle skill with accuracy. So that's why we need to build accuracy here and sacrifice a little bit of enlightenment, which is still huge at 356 thanks to this. And we use him mainly for his immortality to all allies and healing them as well. So that's quite cool. We're gonna use enlightenment aura here. I tried resistance aura, didn't work too well. So basically, this is the equipment here that we covered. As you can see, we run in one serial set because on Corrin we have to have this extra haste, so we can't use it on Corrin. And on Twitch we want some damage. Timings, they might not be perfect, but this is what I've tried here. So basically 5 seconds ultimate here, 5 seconds ultimate here. We could actually like move it a little bit and do it at 17.5 here, and then a little bit longer there. But we also need to keep our Lothair alive long enough to survive, so we need to make sure he has max HP before this ultimate. So yeah, a few ways you can try it. Corrin, we want on default, we want him to be casting this constantly whenever it's off the cooldown. And our damage dealers, we want Twitch to apply defense down and then followed by Lothair. Okay, so this is the idea behind this team. And let's quickly look how this team works, and you'll see that the first 2 rotations on Corrin's ultimate are quite okay. We're refreshing the stacks so they're not disappearing, and we're building them. As you can see, we're at 12. Lothair has his ultimate. The damage is huge, okay? Look at that, we are 2 million damage couple seconds in. So that's the idea. The problem is both of them are taking damage and yeah, hard time surviving. Then we got Corrin ultimate again. We refreshed the stacks, and now the issue is, you'll see that we got to 25 stacks. That's fine. And look at the ultimate. It's being cast. I'm going to slow it down for you guys. As he casts it, the stacks disappear. So this is basically a little bit of haste missing. And that's why this team can't do what it's supposed to do. But yeah, that's what we do. Now, both Oggok and our Ergander, they don't have enough haste to cast every 18 seconds. So that's why they will desynchronize eventually. But as long as we can keep Ergander alive, that's good. And Lothair will do enough damage before he dies. He usually dies around 13 million damage. As you can see, that's going to be very soon. We got this immortality here, which will keep us alive a little bit longer. Cast one more ultimate. So yeah, we are at 14 million damage at 3 stacks. And 3 minutes 40 in. So 11 million achieved, but yeah, Lothair dies. Okay, so this is where we'll start having issues. So while the fight will go longer, obviously now Lossenia will change the target, which will hit our Oggok and Corrin. So this is why I put Corrin there. We are expecting Twitch to do more damage than Corrin, and that's happening. So we want Twitch to stay alive as long as possible, because now Lossenia's ultimate is going to focus Oggok and Ergander. So, or just Oggok, yeah. Sorry, just Ergander in this case, because there's only 3 targets left. So no one's close to each other, and we can abuse that. So now it's just about staying alive as long as possible and hitting 22 million. And we're getting closer to Ergander dying, so it's only Oggok and Twitch left. In this build, Twitch doesn't do that much damage, so we're gonna fall at 20 million. And as I said, if you're running this affinity, this team can get you to 22 million, but I would expect way more. Okay, from the amount of investment we need to put to get this team going, yeah, I would expect more. And there are other variants that will not use these legendary heroes, and they will do similar damage with just Oggok, but I'm not gonna cover them. Because when we go to these free-to-play friendly teams, we are expecting total free-to-play. So now that we covered the whale team, let's move on to the free-to-play team that will use 4 rares and 1 epic fur buff. So yeah, while there are other tanks that you can consider, like I'll test them later on, but just to mention a few, Gareth, who has attack penalty as well. Fur buff will work quite well here because he will be healing himself. Sadly, he won't heal Hexandra. I mean, we could swap him around like this. However, the Ice Ball from Lossenia will be jumping over to one of our damage dealers because how Eli has to be positioned. So this is the way, and this will allow Furbuff to keep himself top tap, and Hexandra will focus on him. We have Lephalis to reduce the ultimate, and Sigrid to apply second attack penalty, plus Eli to be the main damage dealer. When it comes to the rare heroes, Eli is one of the best when it comes to damage done. We can't use the likes of Lothair because obviously he's a melee, so he will suffer in the same way as Lothair did. We have a chance to use an attack aura here, so that's what we'll do. And let's go over equipment. So Furbuff, as you can see, ditching the resistance. There's nothing that the boss can do to us with the frost. So Scarab Amulet, total defense. We want as much defense and HP as possible, with accuracy on him to apply this attack penalty to have rotation between him and Sigrid. And this is the equipment, as you can see, the rune and basically accuracy on every other piece of set will be enough. The boss requires 280, we have 260 plus, we also have 50 from the affinity. So yeah, that covers it. Then our second tank / healer will be Hexandra, using the healing set as well. This gives us an extra healing that will help either her or Furbuff to survive, and we're using a Spiritual Incense Burner. We want the ultimate to be cast more often. If you can handle the pressure, the damage being done, you can consider going for this artifact as well. This will boost the defensive stats and will also help her with the extra healing. And I will use this artifact now because the damage we've done here is at 10 million average. So I'll just want to show you the difference with these artifacts. Now, Lethalis will use Crown of the Unclean with Cyril set, so he will be our main buffer and debuffer basically. However, keep in mind that his ultimate hits only once, so we only have once 75% chance of applying this defense penalty. When we look at the ally, he's using Eyeball of the Giant, Inventor set, so he's all about the damage, crit rate, crit damage, attack. We are skipping Enlightenment, we're not gonna use his passive to deal damage. So far, the best results are with Li being built around crit damage and attack. And then we have Sigrid, offensive again. We had to go for accuracy on the chest because we're done. We're out of any free artifacts that have accuracy that are useful. So we went for Silver Star Horseshoe, which gives us a little bit of attack but huge crit damage with extra attack speed. And we're building her with crit damage and attack. So attack is quite low. However, it's not too bad. So let's play this fight and you'll see what I mean. So yeah, as you can see, Frost, the ice ball doesn't go any further than Hexandra. It stops at Hexandra, so that's the idea. Obviously, the first few heals she will cast randomly because a tank will be at the max HP, so there's no bother there. And yeah, this team was able to do on average 10 million. So if with the right affinity, you will be able to get 11. But trust me, as a free-to-play player, 22 million on Lossenia is going to be challenge or nearly impossible. Because even if we look at the artifacts that I used, here this is the team. I used the epic artifacts, but I also put Witch's Remain on Lephalis and I put Hourglass on Hexandra. And the damage even went lower, and that's because Witch's Remain have a lower chance of applying defense down compared to the Crown. So with a hero like Lethalis, who only has one chance of applying it, it's a really low. Okay, so this is why in this case, Witch's Remain will give you a worse overall damage output, because during this fight with Witch's Remain, I was only able to apply it twice during the whole duration of the battle. So that is terrible. And yeah, sometimes these legendary artifacts help, sometimes they don't. And I'll show you instances where they do help, when the damage could go up. But with this team, it will not. Okay, so yeah, Hourglass still useful because it also increases the speed of battle skill on Hexandra, not only the ultimate, which is way better than the Burner. But Burner is a good alternative, and I believe we realize how strong this artifact is really at the end game on season 1, where we had to use it during the boss to reduce his, to basically make him weakened. So yeah, this is a time 7 stacks usually is the time where the team really takes the beating. And as you can see, it's really heavy on both Hexandra and Furbuff. So Furbuff has his own healing, he's got strong defensive stats, but he still takes a beating, and this is the issue with Lossenia. I feel like this ultimate is doing way too much damage. And the only skill timing we use in here is Sigrid and Furbuff. Basically, we are rotating their attack down, but in the end, it doesn't really matter because they will desync. Both of them don't have 18-second cooldown, so I'll show you that just a little bit later. But as you can see, we are at 8 stacks, 10 million, and I am expecting both of our tank and healer die right now. That's about it. Furbuff managed to survive a little bit longer, so now it's all about our damage dealers to get over the 11 million mark, which with the right affinity, as I keep mentioning, is possible, because that affinity brings damage of everyone we use here. So 500k away from that sweet 11 million spot, and realistically this is where I am going, okay? I'm not going for the 22 million, I don't have a team for that. So as you can see, 10 seconds difference between them, because that's the duration of attack penalty 2, and the rotation is 20 seconds, because none of them has this 18. So that's what we do. This basically helps us with maintaining this attack down on the boss and gets us go over this 11 million line. So there's another hero you can use instead of Letalis, which will allow us to utilize the crown better, as well as give us a chance to put Witch's Remain with better result, and that hero is Jijel here. So I'm gonna run him with the crown first to show you the damage he can do. However, his ultimate is a free attack, so he attacks the boss 3 times, which gives us a higher chance of applying this, 3 times 75%. If we look at the Witch's Remain has low chance of applying the better defense down, 60%. So yeah, if you're using the single skill hero to apply Witch's Remain, your results will be low compared to the crown. So keep that in mind, okay? And everyone else is wearing the same equipment, as you can see here. We're basically build them this way, and this time around I'm going to use the burner here to speed her skills, her ultimate skill. As I said, it's optional. You can go with the healing increase instead if you're already invested in that, and the skill timing is similar. Only those 2 heroes really matter. So that's what we'll do, and we'll start the fight. And the strategy here is same. Jijel gives us a little bit more damage, so as long as those 2 can survive, we should be hitting that 11 million mark. Okay, we hit 7 million at almost 7 stacks, so the 7 stack is usually where we have issues, trouble. The damage is just so good, so strong that, the front line falls. And this is why we also will try a different approach with 2 tanks and a healer. So the healer will be safe in the background, trying to heal up these tanks, and we'll see the results. We'll also try different damage dealers and setups, because Jijel here, he can be put into more offensive equipment, and he will deal quite a lot of damage. I don't think Sigrid is amazing against these single target bosses, but as you can see, we're still hitting almost similar damage, so this gives you a chance to try new heroes. So 9.5 million in this case, and this is basically a reflection of what we have on average, which is a 9 million. So just for a comparison, I've put Witch's Remain and Hourglass on Hexandra, and witches remain on Jijel, and as you can see, the damage is actually way higher, and that's because Jijel has multi-hit ultimate compared to Lethalis, who has a single target ultimate. And this is something that I'll probably explain in a separate video as well for you to understand. Surprisingly, the next team is the one that achieved 11 million damage. As you can see here, we're gonna run 2 healers with Cyphris. So maybe you've not used Cyphris before, but she has a resurrection. She also has a defense up 2 to all allies, which helps our tank Furbuff and Hexandra to survive. She also heals, but consumes her own HP. So this is quite tricky, because this will mean Hexandra will have to heal Cyphris from time to time as well, but usually it happens through the battle skill of Hexandra, which is not too bad. So Hexandra will run the similar setup she's been using previously. We're using 2 healing sets. We want to have extra healing whenever we cast ultimate on our healers. Furbuff with total defense. Again, this set doesn't change. The core stays the same. We use the same aura, same attack, same basically offensive stats on ally. And we change things around. Our Sigrid this time round will run serial set with Crown of the Unclean. So yes, we need that defense down, we need this attack up, and our timings will stay similar. Again, we're only rotating those 2. So this is the team that was able to do 11 million, so even with the right affinities, you'll do way over. So let's see how this fight plays out. So damage-wise, we are way slower. As you can see, we are at 5 stacks with only 4 million damage. Ally is the only one really doing damage. Sigrid is there as a basically attack down and defense down on the boss. So that's why we are trying to prolong this fight. And I've also tried to replace both of these damage dealers with better ones. I've tried the poison variant with epic heroes, and it doesn't really work. I mean, the epic heroes that are poison, they don't do too much damage, even if you build them properly. So usually the team dies around 7-8 stacks. We are at 9 stacks. We're still going strong. So 2 healers are definitely something to look into if you struggle. But yes, the damage is way slower. We are hitting the 2 minute left on the clock mark. 10 stacks, and we're only at 7.5. So I prefer to die quicker, but get to that 11 million. However, this is safe, okay? I mean, you might not hit 11 million when your tanks die, but this helps. And as you can see, if you have better healers, better tanks, you can definitely adjust things around. And yeah, Furbuff is going to die soonish, but look at what Cyphris is going to do. Cyphris is going to bring them back. Unlucky for us, during the ultimate. So yeah, if this happens before the ultimate, then the team can easily achieve 11 million damage. And you can see it here. The team can do 11 million damage with Cyphris, Furbuff, Hexandra, Eli, and Sigrid. And that's with Crown and in the burner. Now, if we switch that to Hourglass, this team can usually hit 9.5 million. And that's because, again, Sigrid is not a multi-hit applier. So that's the difference. And guys, remember, if you hit this and you know a team can get to 10.5, 11, retry, okay? Find your highest threshold first and then try to adjust things and see if it works, okay? But always try to remember your highest threshold and recreate that. Never save on the first try. Try at least 2-3 times before you decide to save. In the next team, we're going to change the approach. We're going to run 2 tanks with Furbuff focused on the total defense with accuracy. We'll also use Gareth, who will be the crown applier with serial set, so we need accuracy, but we also can't forget about defense and HP, as he will be the one taking damage alongside with Furbuff. We have attack penalty on his skill, and we have defense up 2 as well. So this helps us to survive longer, and Gareth, when he takes damage that exceeds 20% of his max HP in a single hit, he gains healing equal to 50% of that damage. So Furbuff, through his battle skill, will heal himself and Gareth, and we'll also have Hexandra healing. Right now, in Hexandra's case, we don't really need this. All we need is extra healing when it comes to the total healing. Now, our damage dealers will still be Eli, and we'll have Sigrid, but this time round, we don't need Sigrid with attack penalty, because we have already 2 heroes who can apply attack penalty through the front line. And we'll use an attack aura as well, and our timings will be similar to what we had previously, but this time around we're going to rotate between Fur Buff and Gareth. So if you have 2 strong tanks, you can use this. You don't need to use Gareth. You can possibly replace heroes as you like, but this is another approach that kind of works. I mean, kind of, because with these heroes, the threshold is really 11 million. There's no chance for you to hit 22 million with these damage dealers, and I hope in Season 3, Poison will be way better than it is currently. So as you can see, we are basically rotating this attack down between Furbuff and Gareth. Gareth has a chance to apply this crown, and if we look at the spreadsheet, the damage with Gareth is around 9.5 million, and with Witches Remain in Hourglass, we can get it to 10.5. So 9.5 is not bad if you consider adding proper affinities that increase the damage, and I highly suggest increasing them for this team, because you want 11 million. This is what I've done on my main account. I'm expecting my team to hit 11 million on this boss. I'm not going for 22. It's impossible for me with the heroes I have. So I'm trying to hit above 11 million. If I get to 14, that's good, extra points, but I only care about 11 million. When we look at the healing, we can see Furbuff actually out-healing Hexandra. That's because he's healing 2 targets constantly with his battle skill, and as we know, his healing scales with defense, so more defense, more healing. And Hexandra is there to basically top us up before the ultimate or even during the ultimate to ensure our tanks survive. But again, it's random. When we don't have really casting set in stone, we can't really control what's happening. So yeah, 9.5 million, that's what I usually have here. If Hexandra heals Gareth right on time, as you could see, that help us survive another stack, and we are at this 8 stacks, where even 2 tanks are taking a solid beating, again showing how strong Lossenia's damage really is. Next team takes us to the previous approach. This time around we're gonna add Vicuc with Incest Burner, so we are trying to utilize this heal that also gets bonus healing when we dispel. We also have attack penalty coming through Vicuc, so we're putting a serial set. We'll still have 2 attack penalty with Furbuff and Vicuc. However, Vicuc's attack penalty lasts only for 5 seconds, but the upkeep is way long. I mean, there's more attack penalty being applied through the battle skill, and then we're gonna use another attack penalty with Sigrid, but instead of serial set, we're going for the damage set and crown of the unclean. Eli will use the same set, so nothing changes here, and our Hexandra will use an extra healing set as well. And the timings, if we look at them, we are rotating our basically Sigrid's damage plus Furbuff damage, and then we'll follow with Eli's damage, because we'll have this crown applied here with 20-second rotation of Eli. And that's the idea here. We're just using a different healer instead of Cypherus to see if this can work as well as it did with Cypherus. Because so far, this 2 healer combo with 1 tank worked a little bit better, and this will be an indicator of what we can do and which legendary heroes we will use later on. Here we go, 6 stacks, 5 million damage, so the boss is going to hit us. As you can see, that damage is just huge. Alexandra's HP is just slowly ticking. Furbuff is in a similar situation, however Furbuff has 3 heals healing him, so in theory he should be better, but look at that, the HP bar between those 2 is really similar. This ultimate is just so strong. So much damage taken. But yeah, we are here at 7 million, so we hit this 7 million threshold, at least that. And I think Lossenia is going to be beyond Frey of Season 1 when he was really annoying to play against. Especially for someone like me who had mostly melee frost heroes instead of range. So yeah, Poison definitely will be the hardest one, and I think when Underworld Exploration hits, I will only aim to do 11 million on Lossenia and prefer to shift my resources elsewhere, as this is going to be painful. And yeah, as you can see, we're trying to keep the front line alive as long as possible to hit that milestone, but the damage is so low with Sigrid. And as I said, I tried the poison heroes, Corin, Horus, Dange, and they don't work too well. I tried Theodorus as well, but there's not enough damage when it comes to the rare heroes, because we are forced to use this range heroes, because otherwise they die. I mean, the melee heroes will die eventually. And there we go, 10 million damage with this team. So right affinities will get you over 11 million. But yeah, again, free-to-play players will struggle here. Next team will not be a free-to-play friendly team. This is a team for those who have Oggok and Zeffi. And if you've been using Oggok and Zeffi elsewhere, you might reconsider, because this is what will beat Lossenia finally. So this is a team that could get up to 35 million damage, and we are using both of them here. Oggok enough will get you, well, Oggok alone will get you to run 22 million with most of the teams, especially a team like this. But with Zeffi, you can go a step further. So Zeffi will be our tank. We want him to cast his ultimate as often as possible, within 18 seconds preferably. We want Oggok to provide us with healing and as well a little bit ultimate points here. So haste again, as you can see, we're building the haste. But as you know, I'm really unlucky with this rune, so I don't have proper runes to get this to 18 seconds. So if you can, then good for you. So those two will tank. We will have Lothair running all the way to the boss on the bottom, and he will deal damage. He will dish damage before he dies, because the boss's ultimate will hit Zeffi and Oggok. However, Lothair will suffer from this battle skill, so still takes damage. Then we have our Corin. So if you can run Corin with enough haste to make the stacks stack and don't disappear, your damage will be way higher here. And then Twitch to apply defense penalty, basically the same equipment as we did previously on the first team. We're gonna go with Enlightenment Aura, which boosts damage, and we'll go with the following timings. So 13 seconds on Lothair, so that's after the defense down, and we rotate, as you can see here, the ultimates. So basically we want to cast this defense up to an invincibility. It only lasts 5 seconds, well 8 seconds really. So we want to cast this, and then we want to get extra healing and immortality for our team. This helps Lothair to survive a little bit longer. If we spread them, if we delay those skills, like make it 22, it still could work, but Lothair might fall, okay? So basically this helps us survive against the ultimate, because only those two heroes will get hit by the ultimate. And obviously Lothair, this healing helps him to survive. So that's the idea here. You can improve this. I'm no expert when it comes to Oggok and Zeffi, because I never played them. But this is how the fight looks, and you'll see similar to the first fight I showed, Lothair will do amazing damage, but he will fall. I mean, the battle skill doesn't do that much damage, but we don't really have huge healing. It's only Oggok that's healing. Maybe if we bring some other healer instead of Zeffi, but Zeffi's ultimate is so good. Right, so as you can see, we have this immortality now, basically helping us survive. We're already at 2 million damage, 15 stacks. The stacks will disappear, so that's again a lower damage. And as you can see, yes, we're helping. We're giving us that invincibility here to ensure that Lothair can survive as well, and we're also healing him. And yeah, let's see how far we can get. So 5 stacks, 13 million damage already done with 3 minutes left on the clock. So yes, this team is going for huge damage, but again, surviving is what's gonna cause us issues. And as you can see, we are very close to dying. Look at this, just barely surviving. And now our Lothair will be in a similar situation. So we definitely want this invincibility, as you can see. So he will be immune to damage. And this is what's keeping him alive. And now we had that invincibility that just finished, and we follow with immortality. So no one can die, so we can survive till the next rotation. As you can see, Zeffi is about to cast his ultimate. So Lothair is not dying. He would have died so much earlier, but he's not, thanks to that. And just as about our backline as to die, we have this immortality, and then we're gonna get healed. Lothair will die eventually, as you can see here, at 24 million, but with enough RNG, you can make him survive long enough to get to up to 30 million. And this is going to give you this big discrepancy here. It's really RNG oriented. And as you can see now, we're going to use Zeffi and Oggok as tanks. And this is why we place the team in this manner. So instead of our damage dealers dying, the boss will focus those guys here, and no one's taking damage from the battle skill anymore. So as long as we survive this, hopefully Twitch will do a little bit of damage. He's not going to do the same amount of damage as Lothair is, but yeah, he can still chip in for hopefully as long as possible to get more points. However, yeah, I've tried to find a solution for three in the back, but because Lossenia's range is in this diamond range, it's really hard to find a team, because ideally we would like to play it with 5 in the back to avoid the battle skill at all. And our team falls at 29 million with betting stacks, but you can get up to 35 with enough luck, as you can see. So in the next team, we still use the similar strategy. We're gonna use Zeffi and we're gonna use Oggok over here. We're putting Twitch with Witches Remain. We also have Vicana instead of Corin, and we're putting Durango instead of Lothair with Rift Hourglass. This team was to show you if there's an option to get to 22 million damage using Oggok and Zeffi, but not Lothair. And yeah, there is. So this team damage is at 21 million. So obviously with enough RNG and affinities, you can get higher than that. I mean, Durango will be the one that also applies this poison. So we want Vicana to cast first. So every time someone applies poison, her damage will increase. I mean, maybe Durango and Twitch are not the best for it, but they work. I mean, 21 million, and as you can see, similar situation here. Zeffi and Oggok are taking the ultimate, while Durango takes the battle skill. So here we are, 5 stacks at 10 million damage, so you can see a little bit less damage, but Vicana is doing not too bad. But obviously, Lothair with an exclusive artifact is very hard to get compared to just Vicana. And I don't know about you, but I don't have Zeffi and Oggok. Despite having summoned so many heroes, I still don't even have Twitch. From those heroes, I only have Vicana and Durango. So I know I won't be able to recreate teams like that, but I want to show you guys that if you have those heroes, if you've been a whaling, or if you've been really lucky and somehow managed to get 5 of them, I mean, if you take off the legendary artifacts, your damage will probably drop by like 20-30% because they are so stuck with these legendary artifacts. But yeah, this is a team for those who can mash these heroes and are looking for an idea. Obviously, you can adjust, okay? This is just like an idea. I'm sharing my idea of a team, and you do what you want to do with it. So yeah, 17 million now, as you can see, really close to dying. Zeffi, Oggok. So there we go, invincibility, sadly not fast enough for Durango. So he's dead. Now, similar fashion to what happened with Lothair, we are praying that our heroes can survive. And yeah, with Durango going, we lost all the stacks. We are only at 4 poison, so our damage is going to be lower. But as long as we hit this 22 million, we should be alright. And I mean, we're very close to. Again, right affinity, imagine everyone doing more damage. So the damage will definitely go over this 22 million. If we consider 10% boost, then yeah. Now a formation for those of you who are mid-spender and been lucky enough to get legendary heroes. We're gonna use legendary heroes with only a few legendary artifacts, as you can see, 3 out of 5. So I mean, this is for those who, yeah, they had legendaries, they had dupes, but they are not whales. So as you can see, we replaced Oggok and Zeffi again here. We're going for Vicuc with our glass. We want him to cast all of that way faster. Healing set here, because we will have Cyril set or our Ergander, so he's got immortality as well. He's going to use Burner because we want accuracy and we want this ultimate basically to be up as much as possible, because both our tanks will be getting this battle skill damage. Free buff with a healing aura, healing set, so that's it. Right, we want extra healing. This is another idea that one of my viewers had, so this is why I recommend comment to my Twitch. I'll test your ideas as well. They might work, they might not, but I'm willing to give it a go. And we're gonna use Vicana here with Twitch, basically dealing damage. So we can't use any auras, that's sad. And when we look at the timings, we are basically making sure Vicana cast first, and then we follow with Twitch's ultimate. Both of them on default, we just want them to spam the skills whenever, and we got him at immortality at 17.5, so we want him to survive this ultimate of Lossenia. So let's see how this plays out and what damage we can do with it. So as you can see, we are at 5 stacks, 6 million damage, so definitely lower than with Lothair. Yeah, obviously. But it's not that fast compared to the rare and epic heroes as well. I mean, yeah, Vicana and Twitch are doing the best, but, you know, not that fast, not fast enough. And yeah, while Ergander is doing quite good, Furbuff's HP is going lower. That's because he's not as tanky as he usually is. So yeah, we have this extra healing from the set when he casts an ultimate, similar to Vicuc. But yeah, we're still going. I mean, 7 stacks, this is usually when it starts really hitting. And we'll see where we can get. So as you can see, Furbuff has died. Ergander was saved by the ultimate. And now he falls. So yeah, we're very close at 11 million. But I mean, with 3 legendary heroes, 3 legendary artifacts, I would expect more. I think I would expect more. That is because every other boss was so much easier than Lossenia. During the live stream, I was also asked to try Jathalea, and this is the team. So basically, Furbuff this time with an offensive equipment, Hexandra with healing set and Hourglass. When we use Jathalea with the Vile Ink here with the derivative damage set, hopefully she will be enough to do a lot of damage, and we have Twitch here to basically do the defense down, followed by Vicana. Again, we're gonna use Vicana. So basically I was worried about this team because there's only one hero to apply poison, one to actually remove that poison. So I was expecting Vicana's damage to be low, and this is the rotation here. Vicana's first, then Twitch, and then we dispel this poison basically. With attack down coming from Furbuff, and healing from Hexandra, and we're gonna use Enlightenment Aura because this is the only aura we can. And yeah, in this case, we'll have Furbuff and Hexandra tanking the damage, hoping that Jathalea will be the game changer here. And while we can see the damage being right, I mean 5 stacks, 6 million almost, the issue is our front line is crumbling, okay? So we're down to Furbuff and Hexandra, just staying alive to keep ourselves alive, basically. And yeah, we die. So if you have better tank, better supports, you might consider replacing them, because I think this team with Jathalea And Vicana and Twitch can get to 22 million if your frontline survives, but this is the biggest if. If they can't, then yeah, you can aim for 11 million as well. But on average, okay, as I said, this is really random. But you can definitely get to something like 8-9 million with this team. Next team will use our 4 core heroes with Muffyn, a new legendary hero released in Season 2. He will be here to apply Crown of the Unclean through his ultimate with enough accuracy. He'll give us serial set boost as well as apply random debuffs like attack penalty 2 and recharge speed penalty, which are both really good against this boss. Our Hexandra will use healing set as well, as Furubuff will be using the defensive set. Both Eli and Jijel will be focused on the damage, so Jijel will still apply and steal the ultimate energy, but this time around we're trying to make sure his ultimate hits quick enough, and we're gonna go on default here. We just want this to work basically through the normal rotation, as everyone will the sync eventually, as they don't have 18 seconds rotation. Also, Muffyn unlocks a 30% attack aura, which we can utilize instead of the usual allies one. So yeah, let's try this. Now, the way Muffyn works, obviously it will add an extra layer of randomness to the fight, because applying recharge speed penalty will not be a guaranteed, but if you manage to get a couple times, you will definitely slow down Lossenia's ultimate and the stacks. Basically, as you can see, that was quite cool there. We slow her down, and every time he hits the boss, there's a chance of applying this debuff. As you can see, we got recharge speed penalty again, we got attack penalty. So everything that we really want to mitigate damage, at least as much damage as possible. And then we just fire through with our damage dealers. So yeah, he's not doing that bad when it comes to the damage, but it's nowhere close to Eli. So we're utilizing him as a debuffer basically, but we still want Jijel basically to steal that energy. So the stacks go slower, they are applied slower, which gives us a chance to get over 11 million damage. So damage-wise, we are definitely doing better. 7.5 million at 5 stacks. That's what we want. I mean, it's good, but the problem is always this front line. They are just too squishy. And I mean, Furubuff as well. So finding a better tank or stronger tank and better healer or a combo that can survive, like, that is going to be challenging against this boss. And as you can see, she is the first to fall. Hexandra is down. Now we're just hoping that we will do enough damage before the ultimate, because the ultimate will hit Jijel and Eli, which means our damage dealers are about to fall, and then we're left with only 2 heroes standing. And as I said, if you have enough affinity, you will get to 11 million. Without this affinity, if you're in the same situation as I am, then yeah, 11 million will be quite hard to get. But as a free-to-play player against Lossenia, 11 million will be your target. Between 7 and 11 million, forget about 22, it's just too hard. Unless there's something that I'm missing, and if you know, please let me know. And the last team that I prepared for today will use a legendary tank. I never had a chance to try DragonHeir, and I'm going to use him here. So this will be our one legendary hero. He provides attack penalty. He also reduces the ultimate of the boss, which is something we are looking for. He grants ally protection, but to the ally with the highest attack, which doesn't really help us because Hexandra will not benefit from it. But he also gets defense up too. So that is quite amazing, as well as a shield. So yes, we really want this, and he also gains the damage reduction 20%. And when he takes damage, he also deals the relative damage. Okay, but we're still building him as a full tank, and as you can see, 90,000 HP and 4,500 defense. These are huge stats, which Hexandra cannot recreate. She's only getting like 80,000 HP and 4.1k defense. I mean, in theory, these stats do not like differ too much. We're gonna use Eli as a damage dealer again. We're going to use Jijel to steal that energy. This time around, we're gonna put Crown on him because we need multi-hit hero to apply it. We're gonna bring in Fyodor. So Fyodor will be another source of attack penalty here. He's also able to apply recharge speed penalty, so we need to build him with accuracy. And his ultimate, even scrolled, is at a quite huge cooldown, 22.1. So we want to use this burner to make sure it's below 20 seconds, which in this case is barely. We're going to use attack aura, and our timing will rotate between the attack penalty of DragonHeir and Fyodor. So as you can see, 27, 17 and a half, and both of them are at the 20 seconds. So that's what we do here. We will have Jijel to apply defense down, and then we follow with Eli's ultimate, and we have Hexandra on default to heal whenever the heal is available. And let's see how this fight plays out. So the amount of ultimate that we steal is quite significant. We are just hitting 5 stacks at 7.5 million, but we only have 3 minutes left. Now, we could definitely see that DragonHeir has no problem surviving up until that point. It's only Hexandra who's taking a beating, because yeah, it works really well. And as you can see, he's shielding Eli, who is the highest attack. So there might be a way with building Hexandra with enough attack, but that will also mean we are sacrificing quite a lot of HP and defense, as well as healing potential if we go this way. So I avoided it, but we can see that we are almost at the 11 million mark, and that's what matter. I mean, yes, we're using one legendary hero, but we're using epic artifacts. And if you've been lucky enough as a free-to-play player, you should have at least few legendary heroes. So who knows, maybe one of them will be DragonHeir or another legendary tank. But definitely that's what's lacking. The defensive power in this team is lacking because we need to use healer to take the damage. Obviously, we could replace Fyodor with another healer and play 2 tanks. But you know, 11 million, that's it, that's scored there, and this team can get up to 14 million. So, if we look here at the spreadsheet, we can see that Lossenia's damage compared to other bosses is way, way lower. And the main issue here is that frontline can't really survive long enough for our damage dealers to deal damage. Or even if they do, like in this case, we are left with 1 minute, there is not enough damage from the rare and the epic heroes. And you can't see the poison epic heroes here because they did 5 million damage, 6 million damage. So that's nowhere close to 11 million damage. And that's worth remembering. The best way to deal with Lossenia is having Oggok and Zeffi. But obviously, this is within the reach of most of us. If you find a way to deal with Lossenia, please let me know. I want to know if I missed something or is there some mechanic that we can use. Because so far, this boss has been the hardest and it took me 4 streams to finalize this video.